Good morning. How's everybody today? Was that a one-day bear market? Is it over? Is that all there is? Wow. Uh, this market is fun. The gamma levels did it. I knew it. I knew it. I knew it had something to do with gamma. Anyway, nice little drop there yesterday. Right, we got some nice scalpers out of it. Why didn't we get the move down? Paying attention to other things other than what I was supposed to, I suppose. Anyway, once it came down to this major support level, it had to bounce. The bounces were not huge, but tradable. Um, so kind of jiggled along there and was kind of thinking, last night, pay attention. This thing's probably going to rally up. I didn't suspect this far, but was just a little tired and didn't do it. I paid more attention to getting a little sleep anyway. Factory work. We don't know where the day is going to end, but so far it's already retraced more than 50% into a bearish wide range bar, which opens up the question, looking at the NASDAQ futures. Yeah, I picked what got hit the worst. What Dan calls a bear sandwich. Can it rally and close near the top of the red bar? Well, suppose anything's possible. It's gotten this far. There's nothing to the left. And we could see here, momentum moved down, slammed around there for a couple of hours. And then the next leg down before a classic W bottom at an area of major support. Textbook. And so now there's nothing to stop it, except, of course, there is subjective resistance here. These pivots, I say subjective, what we call minor resistance, because it's beyond what's directly to the left. However, I suspect these overlapping bars here, there's some congestion right in that area. So that was at around 10 o'clock. Let's just see if we can line that up just so I can see here. See on the bottom. I guess, yeah, it must have been right around here where it kind of formed this bear flag. It looks like 10 o'clock, but I guess the end part of that 12, yeah, right there. So let's just scrunch this up a little bit. And you can see it's gotten beyond that. There's really nothing to stop this from going up. 14,000, a whole number, whatever it is, here to here. But anyway, there's nothing of significance to the left. Look at the Qs. Let's look at the Qs. Are there any gamma levels in the Qs there? We got a bad tick there. So that's a pretty bearish looking bar. Open higher and close below. And open gap fill, which it filled there and stopped here. So where did it go? So over at the close, it just hung around there, and then it gapped up at 4 a.m. And where is it now? 339, rallying up into pretty deeply into that bar. So I don't know. You'll see where it ends, but so the gap up is significant, almost to 340. Right, 339 and a half, almost to 340. That's a significant gap up. And you know what? Debbie was asking about yesterday, and we had conversation about the market, blah, blah, and the close. And I said yesterday, look, we have to respect this depth of retracement here. So even if this reversal follows through lower, we still have to have a bias that whatever correction is, it's buyable as long as it doesn't come, all the way back down, and it could go sideways. And I kind of jokingly said, can you imagine if it gaps up to the high or above the high of the red bar, thinking it's never going to do that. But, this market is unusual. And here we are gapping up almost there. It's starting to come in a little bit, but 340, 337 gamma levels. Well, okay. So 340 just makes a whole lot of sense as being up there. So we don't need any brain damage analysis to know that that's going to be resistance. And 330, well, if it drops back down, this kind of, honestly, coming down like this, this correction on the hourly chart and this support, deep retracement, and now gapping up here. If at 10 o'clock or 10:30, it's still hanging up here, odds are it's going higher, right? Because there's going to be sellers here in this area. And if they can't knock it back down, I'll assume it's going to go up. I don't know how much. I don't think it'll be that much for the Qs. You can see the weekly chart here, but this topping tail for the moment is starting to turn into a green bar. We'll see what the next, today and tomorrow brings us, but trading range, it would seem, and got a pretty, today's open is going to be pretty important as a reference level. Yeah. Okay. So let's see where the rest of the things are at. Is it not a gap to resistance? Yes, it is a gap to resistance. Absolutely. I'm saying Stavaro, if I'm saying your name right. Stavaros, whatever. Try. It is gapping up into resistance. What it does there. So look, when we look at trading rallies bar by bar, price movement up into a resistance area, it's resistance. And this is a momentum move. So there's little support below, right? There's this area here and then these overlapping bars. Now, whether it does it by, this creates a bit of a price void below, Now, whether it rallies bar by bar or whether it gaps up there, it's resistance. But that retracement, even though it's on a gap, has to be respected. And that is, part of our gap trading strategies as to, something gaps to the top of a red bar, that's got to be respected as a bullish gap. Now, if it was to gap above the high of the red bar, we'd be thinking long, even though there's a void below. But the top of the red bar would be support if it did that. So it's kind of in the middle of limbo, so to speak, but somewhat more bullish. I would like to reach out to the Gamma person and see if you can do an MT live together. Sure. I think that would be interesting. He's in a totally different world than Dan and I as our approach to the markets. And I've picked up a few things from his analysis and I think it's interesting. So yeah, I would like that idea. Yeah, sure. All right. I think that would be a great MT Live and would attract a very large group of people from two different points of view that could absolutely learn from each other. So it's a win-win. Okay. Yes. Well, that wasn't such a big deal. It was a narrow range bar. We spoke about that at the end of the day yesterday, and it's just going sideways, but deep retracement up into resistance. See the topping tail, right? What was that trade we did yesterday, or I did? I kind of blurted it out there that it triggered scientific something system. I don't know, whatever it was, but I showed you the sell area on the hourly chart, and almost to the penny, it rallied up there and backed off. And so, you know me, I got to reinforce every day. Take the freaking indicators off your chart, the trend lines, the fib lines, the VWAPs, and just look to the damn left, right? Simplicity works, right? So up into the resistance area, topping tail, a little bit of a void. We'll see how much it pulls back or goes sideways. I haven't even had time to look at the news today. Why somebody died from coronavirus, so the market rallied, being facetious, but that blood clot story and when the market rallied this week was a little disturbing. Anyway, up into resistance area, topping tail, depth of retracement is bullish. It's in an uptrend. We don't even have any wide range bars here, meaning here's a wide range bottoming tail bar, right? So that's a powerful turning bar and then an igniting wide range bar. All these bars look sideways gap, sideways up, sideways. So we recognize tops in a couple of ways. One is a momentum move, which the S&Ps, the spiders look more like that, where it gets far away from the moving average. Or one, in addition to that, could be a wide range bar on the daily chart. And there's no wide range bars here, and there's no momentum moves, right? So this is more of a momentum type move that creates a void. This is more of a self-correcting, choppy grind higher, whereas SPX, more of that momentum move, igniting bar, up, 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 and stalls. So another way that tops form is that, hey, everybody goes to sleep and is a little complacent about the markets and chop, chop, chop. And, this was a little minor breakout failure here, sideways, and you get some sideways congestion suggesting it's going to go higher, and then it gaps down below it. So none of that is happening. So again, today's gap up, if today turns into a red bar, meaning spiders open up here, right? And at the end of the day, it's a red bar closing down here. Well, I don't think anybody needs a course in MTS to know that that doesn't look very bullish, and it's likely to come in, right? So again, we shall see. The benefit of the doubt goes to the trend. This is extended away from support, so vulnerable to some kind of a retracement. And the Russell, right, came out of the blocks yesterday like gangbusters, right? And these people on YouTube grabbed I said I was going to look for this to go long, and I was answering some late comments, turned around, and the thing was exploding higher and missed that. But my fault. And it backed off, and now, right, it's back up to the highs. But what a big mess. Right? So we got support here, and we'll see if we can get back up to that high. Bonds are up, which means yields are down. Markets like that. This is grinding its way higher. And okay, that's the 30-year. This is the 10-year. Nice kind of a downside shakeout and sideways price action at resistance. And so we know this is at support, right? I thought it would come a little further down. Like a week or two ago, we were talking about this coming a little further down, and the 10-year getting up toward that 2% level. But now that looks like that is not happening, and this is going to pull back. And as high as the market is, the market's going to like that. So maybe that's why it's up today. I don't know. Didn't read the news. And gold, just chopping away here. Silver looks a little more attractive, but nothing that's, wow, this looks like a great opportunity. And well, Bitcoin kind of grinding its way up, 65,000 tagged. Wow. And everybody knows the coin went public yesterday, flying around there. And lastly, our transports, right? Sideways still. So,
hey, Greg, on coin, it went public yesterday. Why the heck did it not start trading during market hours? I've never seen that before, ever.
But it did, Dan. There was data.
Oh, I thought that was all post-market data. Okay, if it didn't show on TradeStation. All right.
Now, look. Well, come on. You got to get one of these professional platforms. No, I'm kidding. I don't like TradeStation. Anyway, here you can see it started trading at around 130.
Oh, all right. Well, my stupid platform, and That didn't show any data. Okay. I'm surprised nobody.
I don't know why, but mm, it doesn't make sense, but just a thought. I know in that trade station, you set the hours in that grid there. Maybe because your grid is set up for a different time, it didn't pick it up. I mean, I know, I'm sure Trade Station had the data. There's probably some setting that.
You remember I also made the comment yesterday that there was so much bullish enthusiasm into this thing that I would just, my bias without even having a chart was look for a short setup and, dollars off the high.
I'd be surprised, those of you on TAS, if you had the shares available. I didn't try and short it, but an Interactive Brokers, if there's any possibility of getting something on a short list, that's, I think, the best broker out there.
I think there's regulations that actually prohibit you for, I don't know the current rule, 7-10 days or whatever. I don't think you can short IPOs.
Maybe. I don't know. So in IB, if something is on a restricted list, a little orange dot comes up. And so I've gone to short things not knowing that. And then I look at the orange dot. I say, oh, okay. But then I get filled, not all the time. So I don't know what goes on there, but it doesn't happen often. But I don't know. Maybe I'll try and short it today and see what happens. Anyway, you can cover the other stuff.
What other stuff?
Gaps, open trades, what we do every day.
All right, so you remember yesterday into the close, I was fairly confident my bias was going to be down, but I also didn't want to commit. Remember, I said, let's just wait. We were even number of people talking about buying VXX. And I said, you got to be deadly accurate when you buy this thing. I mean, just look at it. It's just perpetual downtrend. It's like the Roger Rabbit woman, Jessica. She said, that's just the way I'm made. I can't help it. I'm beautiful. And that's the way it is. So, and that's why I wasn't committing to the short side unless I follow through today. And then, as Greg said, it doesn't mean I want to, because this is what started the discussion. Somebody in our green room said, hey, Dan, should I buy VXX for, a couple months out? And I said, absolutely not. And we got into a long discussion of VIX, of the bias, of if I did it, it was only be for a 1, 2, 3 day pullback is all because of the broader, I mean, my bias, but for today's gap, of course, was for exactly that, the 1, 2, 3 day pullback. That's what this chart communicates. But now, yesterday, MT Live, shock patterns. And, you can level the amount of shock between 1 and 10, and that's a subject of determination. Would I have expected this gap to the high today? Absolutely not. But am I totally shocked about it? No, because crazy bullish sentiment. It's just crazy bullishness. So it's not a big shock to me. All right, so we had a number of put spreads on bottoming patterns that got us a little nervous yesterday. We got the pitons and the zooms and the etc. spots. But it looks like we might be back into good territory with today's doc gap up, T-Doc here, gap on prior highs. Yeah, Steve, I hope you heard my discussion yesterday when I was telling you about my consultation with the hedge fund guy. I never, ever, ever, ever recommend buying long-term volatility options. Never, because even if you get a short-term crash or pop in volatility, you ain't going to get rewarded. And we talked about that yesterday. If you want, we'll talk about it more later. I don't want to take time now. But yeah, I mean, don't feel bad if you learned a lesson too. That, this was a hedge fund guy running billions of dollars and he didn't understand it either. I had to teach him. Yeah, Daku. Yeah, yeah, McGraw. That looks like a put spread. I posted AI little bottoming pattern. That's a put spread idea. XBI put spread idea. TLT yields. Gave that as a put spread. So there's a ton of bottoming patterns. And W, I have no idea, McGraw, what you want to do there. It's up 15 days in a row. Let's go to my list here. X, remember, this was a buy setup. Uh, you know, I missed it, but I said that we were talking about that for many days. I said as soon as it takes out a prior bars high, it's a tradable buy setup, period. And then it just, we would see how far it went based on the retracement. We saw XME yesterday get in the action, and that's a buy setup too. Our Cliff Clavin was moving. Greg, look at DBC. I failed to look at this when we saw the strength in XME, but that was a beautiful little gap breakout there. That's commodities, obviously, commodity ETF. Look at this thing. QS, yeah, it's bearish, so something like this, even though it's down so many bars on support, the fact that it couldn't bounce and the fact that it took out a prior high and then made closing new lows, and then the fact that the weekly is a breakdown, that's a bearish pattern. Let's keep an eye on that to short a bounce. Square, if Square cannot get over, just eyeball this kind of midpoint level. If it can't get over that and bobbles around, takes out a 30-minute low, that is a call spread idea. That's a bearish turn and major resistance. Oh, we actually put on one call spread yesterday. Netflix, same kind of concept here. Bearish retracement at resistance, gapping up a little bit with the broader markets, but nothing to fear at all on the pattern. We have a call spread for that expires tomorrow. Today's Thursday. We have 2 days of risk. The Journal had an article, American. I was shocked. The article said that they're back to 90% of pre-corona traffic. I never would have guessed that. Never. With the lack of business travel and the people still, it's actually shocking. I don't want to be on an airplane myself. Have to deal with all those people yelling at you and everything. No pattern there, but that surprised me. Delta here had earnings, another airline. This was a buy setup. This one interested us yesterday, but for earnings today. So this is a 30-minute high watch. Well, Debbie, I don't care passport or no passport. I'm just talking about common sense. I was just shocked that that's the end of it. I was personally shocked. USB here, it's a ADR, that's why it's gapping all the time, but it's just grinding higher on the rising 20. Yeah, Steve, that's my point. Exactly. Wear your mask, this and that. That's like, I have no desire. I haven't seen my dad out in Dallas in 15 months now, so I feel bad, but I'm gonna have to do it. HLMB had earnings. If it breaks out, it's fine. PBR gapping down. I got no interest in that garbage. Rad. I'm doing nothing. Garbage. TFC had earnings. I actually like this one over yesterday's high. The reason is because then it'll be, negating the pre-market weakness. AEO gapping up to extended, no pattern, true. Oh, thanks, Steve. Shoe is a big mess, no interest. TSM 122, gapping up a little bit here. Maybe 30-minute high. We'll come back to you. APP, the journal just said they're going paper in public today. Deer, this was one. This one, we did a good job with our adjustment strategies. On this little start of a breakdown, we sold a call spread, but with the intent, or not intent, with the pre-strategy of, I said, if it then turns around and takes out this high, we're going to buy the stock and convert our call spread into a bull call deficit, to a covered call. And that's what we did. So now we got a nice open profit with this. We got a nice open profit right there. Greg's saying XLE. Yeah, they had a good day yesterday. They're still messy. I really like that XME so much better. That because it came in clean. This is a cleaner buy setup. Support that, and you all heard me yesterday morning, the first 15 minutes when I was looking up at the sectors, and I said, someone please find me an XME. I'm busy doing everything else. I can't start scanning. But we were watching this and also X yesterday and Cliff. UNH, get up 380. Maybe 30-minute high. We'll come back. City 7480. It's bullish. We'll come back. BAC was up 40 cents earlier, so now it's selling off. So that's why you got to be careful with earnings. It could be the earnings commentary reports that can whip things around. So you really got to let them digest. Goldman was yesterday. We sold a put spread yesterday. Wow, look at the tick, 1400. Kilo Lima, this is a 123 that is still valid if it can take out the highs. McGraw, EWZ, possible put spread. TAN, it's trying to make the turn, set an alarm. Yesterday's high, maybe put spread. I'll set an alarm right now, E750. You've heard me say so many times recently, the bulls are on crack cocaine. They just love these equities, and it looks like the diamonds. That's what we're starting out with right now. And for a new trade of the ETFs, that's the one I like the best, was the diamonds. Yeah, because this one's rested. This looks great. It's only 931, so I'm not doing anything, but maybe 5-minute high. This looks great. Start off as a day trade. I had a put spread in the weekend letter, and we just didn't get the juice, but now we can maybe look at it for next week. Yeah, Greg, XBI I gave as a put spread. Pre-market I gave. Glancing at our opens here. Greg, your BDX from coaching. I see this up $2. Come on, data. Hey, Roger. Come on, what's wrong with my data?